Hello there, kia ora. Have you ever heard the term Hahaganda? It's a form of propaganda employed by both the Kremlin and the acting Prime Minister. It aims to ridicule opponents and is usually the last resort to arguments and evidence against a specific topic. It tends to use derogatory terms like derangement to belittle opponents, and it has one defining feature that makes it effective. It's really hard to defend yourself against a joke. The goal here isn't to convince the audience of the truth of the joke, but to undermine credibility and trustworthiness of the target through ridicule and humiliation. And we've seen that time and again come from David Seymour. His most recent version of it has been his posts aimed at academics with what he calls regulatory standards bill derangement syndrome, which this week in his first stand-up post-cab presser as acting Prime Minister, he fobbed off as a joke. But those jokes have consequences. Outcome research by disinformation researcher Dr. Sanjana Hatotawa shows some alarming outcomes from Seymour's use of Hahaganda. For Dame Anne Salmon, these include questioning her academic credentials, her political leaning as a justification for dismissal of her views, anti-intellectual dismissals, mental health stigmatization, gender-based hostility, attacking academic institutions, and more. For Materia Ture, these included attacks about her past admission of benefit fraud, gender-based hostility, and comments about her weight and other personal characteristics. They attack her academic expertise. They call her a DEI hire, and of course they attack her racial and cultural backgrounds, referencing Māori heritage, and tying that into the Treaty of Waitangi. For Dr. George Lacking, these comments dismiss his academic credentials. There's anti-intellectual sentiment, attacks on his political leanings, calling him a muppet, a turkey, and looking deranged, and question his real-world experience. But importantly, Lacking gets far less vitriol and hateful comments than the woman targeted by Seymour. And of course, this isn't the first time Seymour has done this. His comments from 2023 around the dream he had of a man named Guy Fawkes entering the Ministry of Pacific Affairs, which was fobbed off as a joke, are also mentioned in this research report as part of an alarming pattern of Seymour's, to use dismissive, dehumanizing language against critics while claiming that they're just jokes. Now, for a lot of people, these findings won't be a shock. After all, we see time and time again that the kind of coded rhetoric that he's talking about is something ACT and David Seymour excel at, and something many of those who support them want to believe. Research done last year into harmful and inaccurate information around Māori found that this kind of action causes surges in hate speech and inaccurate information being spread. It recycles colonial tropes, and that inaccurate information and hate speech aimed at Māori are incredibly closely linked. Research undertaken by the Classifications Office last year found algorithms amplify misogynistic and extremist content, making it easier for it to be discovered, that girls and women are more likely to experience online violence, that people with intersecting identities like being Māori and a woman experience intensified harm from combined experienced discrimination, and that there's a crossover between the people who fall for this dog whistle like this and child sexual abuse and exploitation. Oh, that was just a month after Brooke Van Velden announced that they were ending work on safer online services and media platforms, or, hate speech laws. Research last year published by the European Consortium for Political Research found that the acceptance attitude towards political violence from populist far-right followers was higher than that of people who tend to have other political leanings. The leaders of such movements send cues to their followers that normalize the vilification of what they consider a societal outgroup member and approve violence to achieve their goals. And the way these leaders send these signals enforces in their followers the way to undertake these attacks. And by having David Seymour openly signal them online with his little posts about derangement syndrome, well, that sends a signal to them that he at least condones them doing the same in an online space. All of this is academic speak, saying David Seymour is telling his army of online shitheads to do shitty things online, and they're already likely to be racist, sexist, and anti-intellectual, which adds to their methods and attitudes, and their aim is to cause real harm. So when Tory Whānau says academics need to be kept safe, it's not from quote-unquote criticism, as the Free Speech Union like to frame it. It's from the very real harms that come from a worked-up audience of far-right followers who think their leader is condoning their actions. And he gets away with it because he can claim it's just a joke, and you can't really defend against a joke. And he's deputy prime minister under a leader who has no spine when it comes to pulling his coalition partners into line, even when it seems like a clear breach of the cabinet manual. So the only way he will ever face any real consequences is to make sure that at the next election, voters remember how he does this and show him that they don't want it. Hey, thanks for checking out today's video. Make sure you like, share, subscribe so you get more updates as we go along. We deal with these guys for the rest of the year.